قولي اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا فزدنا يا ربنا علما إن الحمد لله كفى والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So today inshallah ta'ala we are going to start the first discussion in regards to each of the four great madhabs of fiqh. Last week, alhamdulillah, we spoke about what is a madhab and why the discussion is so important. And we did indicate towards some basic understandings or misunderstandings that are sometimes found when discussed or when discussing a madhab. Now everybody wants to feel like they are following the correct Islam, no doubt. So this is where the confusion may be found. Is following a madhab following the correct Islam? So inshallah today we're going to speak first about the great Imam Abu Hanifa rahimallahu ta'ala. And we will speak about Imam Abu Hanifa because he is Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah because he is the first of the known madhahib. Now he is considered the first Sahib al-Madhab. Sahib al-Madhab meaning an Imam of a madhab. Imam Abu Hanifa is amongst the four and the first of the four. However, in history, four are not the only madhabs that existed. Rather, four are the only madhabs that remain today. There was madhabs, for example, of Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, Awza'i, Ishaq. These were all madhahib that are not followed today. Nor do we see the extent of an impact on those madhabs which is found in the four madhahib. There's also the madhab of the Zahiriyya. Now, to understand, before we talk about a madhab, we need to clarify one thing. Sometimes you will find that the imams of a madhab, generally speaking in today's time, they are not always Arabs. They're not always Arabs. So sometimes we have found, and the question has been brought numerous times, that if they are non-Arabs, can they really be understanding Quran and Sunnah? And every madhab, if you look at the Hanafi Madhab today, you'll find it in Al-Qaratul Hindiyah, in South Indian continent, in this area, and obviously throughout the world, but its main source of strength is in that area. You find, for example, the Maliki Madhab at a time was in Andalus, but is found in very eastern parts of Africa, in Sudan, etc. This does not mean because the ulama that are leading that area are not by birth Arabs, that there is a lack of knowledge. How can we say this? Because all of the imams of hadith in amongst the Sihah Sittah are non-original Arabs. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah is not a original Arab, but he is still considered the greatest Imam in terms of authentication, and his book is the most authentic book after the Quran, without doubt. There was no issue or lack of respect because of the fact that he is not of an Arab origin. Rather, in Islam is a religion for mankind. When the knowledge is correct, it can come from any colored man, a man of any race, and a man of any age. As long as it is the true understanding of Islam, then we are obliged to follow such things. And that is the beauty of a true believer. He is one who follows the truth wherever he finds it. And his kibr does not stop him. So Imam Abu Hanifa himself, he is not a Arab. He's actually from Kufa. And in the time of Imam Abu Hanifa, he was not even, Allah did the qadr, his tawfiq of Allah, that he became the great Imam. But he did not have this initial intention. Rather, his father and his grandfather were both businessmen. And the ulama of history say that they were very good businessmen. So the great Imam Abu Hanifa, he was living in a business type of family. Even though it has been mentioned that they were very religious, that does not mean that they were not religious. However, they were not connected deeply with knowledge and acquiring knowledge. Rather, they were connected to Islam, but their occupation was more towards business. Now, we will see later on, inshallah, that the knowledge or the type of quality, talent that was found in Imam Abu Hanifa, which led to him studying. But Imam Abu Hanifa, coming from this family in the 80th, he was born in 80 Hijri, which is about 699 according to after death, AD. He was a tabi'i. He saw numerous Sahaba, and one of them for sure, without doubt, is Anas radiallahu anhu. And we can say without doubt that out of the 4 madahib that exist today, Imam Abu Hanifa is the only one that is from Al-Qurun Al-Mufaddala, the 3 great generations. Where the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith that Khairul Quruni Qarni, the best generation is mine, ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ, then those after, which are tabi'een, then those after, atba'u tabi'een. Now Imam Abu Hanifa is from the tabi'een. So he is the highest amongst all of the madahib in terms of the existing madahib, in terms of his lineage towards Sahaba, connection to Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Imam Malik rahimahullah is amongst atba'u tabi'een. Now, with that being said, he spent most of his youth in sometime debating. The ulama have mentioned that he used to debate, but he was not, he was very intrigued by debates or discussion, etc. But not necessarily was he academically prepared. Rather, he was a man of intelligence, of logical understanding, and he understood very quickly. So one time, it is mentioned that Imam Ash-Sha'bi, when he was passing by, Imam Sha'bi stopped him. So subhanallah, you can say that Imam Sha'bi had this one statement of his, he can obtain the reward of Imam Abu Hanifa. So he stops Abu Hanifa, who was a boy at the time, and he says, إِلَى أَيْنَ تَخْتَلِفْ? Where are you going? He said, I am going to the store, my market, my business. Imam Sha'bi said, no, that's not what I mean. Which ulama do you sit with? My question is not where you are going now. My question is general. Which ulama do you learn from? And he said that I don't go to them much. أَنَا قَلِيلُ الْإِخْتِلَافِ إِلَيْهِمْ, I very seldom go to the ulama. So Imam Sha'bi said, لا تغفل, do not become negligent. وعليك بالنظر في العلم ومجالسة العلماء, you should be concerned about looking into knowledge of Islam and spending time in the company of scholars. فإني أرى فيك يقظة وحركة, because I see a good quality of liveliness inside of you. Which means when a person is not so lazy and he is alive, he is able to do more than a person who is lazy. وَحَرَكَ, I see you capable of doing a lot. So use this quality for the sake of Allah, you will see some benefit there. This is the type of advice he is giving the Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. So Imam Abu Hanifa says, فَوَقَعَ فِي قَلْبِي مِنْ قَوْلِهِ. Immediately I was affected from him. You know, what if I'm wasting the talent Allah has given me? This talent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me, what if I waste it? And what if he is right? So he said, فَنَفَعَنِي اللَّهُ بِقَوْلِهِ. Allah benefited me through his statement, what Imam Sha'bi said. So then he started learning. Now, Imam Abu Hanifa, who did he learn from? Some ulama have said thousands of scholars he has learned from. In some riwayat is mentioned, it mentioned 4,000 teachers he had. However, the focus is where you learn most of your knowledge from. That is the main goal. That is the main point. Because alhamdulillah, people learn from many people. But to see the maqam of a man, you see what type of person he learned from. Because majority of the qualities are gained with the person that you spend the most time with. Okay? So he spent time with Hamad, who was a great imam. Actually, he spent his whole studies with Hamad, rahimahullah, until Hamad passed away. Now, when Hamad passed away, he was put in the position of Hamad. So he took over the majlis of Hamad, his teacher, once he had passed away, and it was a grave experience, it was a grave tragedy for his imam, his great imam, his ustad to pass away. And what you will find in our salaf, our ulama, is that they were connected to their teachers like their parents. Because one of our mashayikh used to say that you have fathers of birth, of biology. Yani, you have fathers that gave you birth and raised you. وَلَكُمْ آبَاءٌ فِي الْعِلْمِ. But you also have fathers that have taught you Islam. And that maqam of the ustad or the alim that has taught you what Islam is, that is extremely valuable. Because that ustad, that imam has given you the knowledge of dunya and akhirah. And that knowledge in there is success. So you can find, even here you will find, and you will find from the other imams when we study them, that Hamad bin Abi Sulaiman was like a father of knowledge for him. And he spent so many years, it is mentioned 40 years with Hamad. 40 years, can you imagine? 40 years learning from one man. How much he could learn from him. And how diligent he was. And you'll find in the way of the Salaf that they were very adherent to taking the knowledge and the way to obtain knowledge from their ustad as well. So he said, I spent a lot of time, but he also mentions, Imam Abu Hanifa, it is also mentioned that in his time with Hamad, he said after about 10 years, I started to feel like I have gained enough knowledge. So it's mentioned here that صحبته 10 سنين. I spent 10 years with him. ثم نازعتني نفسي الطلب للرياسة. Because of my 10 years of gaining knowledge, I started to have this inner inclination that I can move up. I can move up and I can, become something noticeable. So he says that, and I kept having this feeling inside of me. But then what happened was I sat with Hamad one day. After in this feeling, when I sat with the Imam Hamad who was my ustad, I couldn't even get up because of what he was saying was so intriguing and so powerful. And the depth of what he was saying. So I kept sitting with Hamad until Imam Hamad passed away. Now, Is Imam Abu Hanifa a faqih? Is he a muhaddith? Is he imam of kalam? Is he, what type of imam is he? Imam Abu Hanifa had much knowledge. Don't assume that Imam Abu Hanifa was restricted to fiqh and did not know any other subject. Rather, it was the choice of Imam Abu Hanifa, like Imam Abu Yusuf has mentioned, it was the choice of Imam Abu Hanifa to spend most of his life in fiqh. Even though he was well acquainted with the other sciences. And we'll talk about how intelligent he was and what the other Imams said about his intelligence. So he saw fiqh as the most beneficial for him. Now the next thing you need to keep in mind is that until Imam Abu Hanifa, a certain type of fiqh did not exist. This is called al-fiqh at-taqdiri. Al-fiqh at-taqdiri. Al-fiqh at-taqdiri means to have fiqh knowledge and discuss situations that have not yet occurred. In the time of the Khilafah, in the time of Umar ibn Khattab, and many of the Mu'arrikheen, the historians have mentioned, that when Masail would come to Zayd radiallahu anhu, or Abdullah bin Mas'ud, and it was said to them, such and such is the situation, what is the ruling? The Sahaba, the older Sahaba would ask, did someone have this situation, or are you assuming of a situation that has not yet existed? If it was said that to them that, yes, this happened to so and so, they would give the ruling. If it was told to them that this situation does not yet exist, we are asking if it does exist in the future. So the kibar of the Sahaba would say, leave the issue. And many of the scholars said that the kibar of Sahaba, because they were so focused on so many different issues of Islam, for them to talk about things that were not happening was not beneficial for them. But as time moved, as time was moving, Imam Abu Hanifa felt and learned that it was a grave need to teach the people masail that do not exist yet. And this became known as al-fiqh at-taqdiri. Al-fiqh at-taqdiri is to speak about the rulings of masail in certain situations that have not yet existed, or possible situations, okay? Now he was an imam in this. Next thing that you need to understand before we talk about the madhab part, about the great imam, is that what was the imam rahimahullah taking his knowledge from? He based his knowledge on Quran first. If he could not find something in Quran, then in hadith. If it could not be found in hadith, then ijma', the consensus of the ummah. If not found in ijma', then he went to qiyas, and he had istihsan and urf and ada and different usul of fiqh. But people sometimes assume that Imam Abu Hanifa was so focused on rationalization, on qiyas, analogy, that he started to leave hadith and Quran, etc. This is a blatant lie. Imam Abu Hanifa and the Hanafi Madhab has held to the masadir of Sharia, which are the sources of Quran, Sunnah, and the aqwal of Sahaba, and the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the ijma' of the ummah. Now, I'll give you a mas'ala. I'll give you one mas'ala. One mas'ala I can tell you, it's okay, he offed it accidentally. It'll be fixed, no problem. One example I can give you is al-mash' al-jawrabayn. Without doubt, all of the scholars agree on the permissibility of wiping on leather socks, correct? Leather socks that you travel with. All of the scholars agree that one can use these leather socks and wipe on. And there's no khilaf. Actually, the mas'ala has become so common and so powerful that this mas'ala is mentioned in the books of Aqeedah. Because all of the ummah, all of the ulama have agreed on the mas'ala, so for people to go against it is to go against the Aqeedah of the ummah. That's why you see the Rawafid, Khawarij, etc., they disagreed. But the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah did not disagree in the permissibility of wiping on leather socks. The disagreement is in wiping on regular cotton socks. Okay? There are some ahadith that are mentioned in Sunan al-Tirmidhi and Abu Dawood, etc. None of the ahadith are authentic. All of the ahadith have some kalam in them, weakness. Okay? The second thing is that there are some sahaba, it has been mentioned, Sab'a Ashara, about 17 sahaba that did do Mas'h al-Jawrabayn, okay, on regular socks, cotton socks. The Hanafi scholars say invalid. Why do they say invalid? Why? And if a person understands where the Hanafis, how strong they have held to daleel, then a person to say that the Hanafis rely on qiyas and leave Quran and Sunnah would be a fool. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ayah of wudu says, you must wash your feet. So washing the feet is the fard, the faridah, is the faridah. Wiping on leather socks is against the ruling of washing. Wiping is not the same as washing. But because of the hadith not being sahih, the hadith are mutawatir, are the highest level of hadith. Because the hadith are of the level of mutawatir, which resembles the strength of daleel like in Quran, all of the ummah has agreed to let this be done. It is not authentic. It is beyond authentic. It is undoubtable. Undoubtable. Mutawatir, the definition of mutawatir in hadith is that it has been narrated from so many authentic narrations and different venues and asanid and chains that to assume that everybody lied is not possible. So mutawatir is the highest level of hadith. Highest level of hadith. Now the Hanafi scholars and the Ummah have said that we will allow and permit, it is not sunnah, it is permissible to wipe on leather socks because the ruling is established with, we say, bid-durura. There is no doubt in such knowledge because of mutawatir. Now in Mas'h al-Jawrabayn, wiping on cotton socks, the hadith are weak. Not even authentic. Even if they were a few authentic hadith, the Hanafis would still reject. Why would they reject? Because Quran ruling cannot be broken because of some hadith. The ruling of Quran will be given precedence over everything. The only reason why its ruling was given an exception was because of tawatur. So when there are weak ahadith, the Hanafi scholars will reject this and they will say we will apply Quran. Rather, the scholars that are saying opposite are the ones that are leaning towards ta'eed, supporting their proofs that are not very strong through qiyas. So you will find, like Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah has mentioned in his Majmu' al-Fatawa, many cases and situations where the Hanafi scholars have held a position to Quran and Sunnah against other Imams that have not held Quran and Sunnah. So to assume that we as Hanafis or the Hanafi scholars in the Madhab is performing its opinions and rulings based on aql, on the mind, and not naql, not nusus, text of Islam, is a misunderstanding. It is actual, it is a statement of a jahil, of a person who does not understand fiqh. A person who understands fiqh would never say such a thing. Now, out of all the four madhahib, the most followed madhab in the world is the Hanafi fiqh. Let me tell you why. I'm not trying to be muta'assib. I am going to tell you why. And don't take my opinion. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, who is the Shafi'i Imam, has spoken about how the Hanafi Madhab was protected. He's a Shafi'i. He has said because the students of Abu Hanifa did not separate and they studied under the madhab. So the students of Imam Abu Hanifa did not start a new madhab like other imams did their own studies. No, these students studied and kept studying the usul and principles of the imam, their teacher, Imam Abu Hanifa. Okay? Now, look, in the time of Abu Yusuf is the eldest student of Imam Abu Hanifa. His name is Abu Yusuf. Abu Yusuf became in his time, was asked to be the qadi of his time. Not the qadi of the court, the qadi of the ummah. It is known as Qadi al-Qudah. He is the qadi of all the Islamic rulings of the Muslim world. Lamma tawalla, when he took that ruling, that position, what did Imam Abu Yusuf do? This is actually where the Hanafi Madhab strengthened beyond understanding. Imam Abu Yusuf said once he is put in the position to rule the Islamic rulings of the Islamic world, he says it is a criteria and obligation on every court to have Hanafi scholars. So he required that every qadi in the Khilafah, in the Dawla Islamiyya, in the Muslim world, be a qadi doing rulings or giving judgments based on the Hanafi madhab. So then, all studies are happening through the Hanafi madhab. All rulings are through the Hanafi madhab. Issues are being solved through what? Obviously the madhab that is being acted upon, which is the Hanafi madhab. So Imam Abu Yusuf played a great role in preserving the madhab today. How does the madhab work? The top of the madhab starts with, we cannot really say starts. It is its name and its being collected from Imam Abu Hanifa because he is learning from Hamad. So technically Imam Abu Hanifa learned from who? Hamad. Hamad learned from Ibrahim al-Nakha'i. Then Abdullah bin Mas'ud. So they're learning from their elders. But Imam Abu Hanifa is where it is all linking back up. It is linking up. And then it is being spread through Imam Abu Hanifa and his students. The greatest students of Imam Abu Hanifa are Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad rahimahullah. In the books of fiqh they are known as Sahibain. Then there is Imam Zufar, Hassan bin Ziyad, etc., who are a little younger. Now, in terms of a madhab, it's important for people to understand the tabaqat. What are the classification? What is the the status of some imam in a madhab? Because otherwise, Abu Hanifa is the beginner, is there, but you don't know where other imams are. You're not aware. So at-tabaqatul ula, the first classification, the highest level of the madhab is al-mujtahid al-mutlaq. Who is the one who forms the madhab? The madhab is formed on him. Who is obviously Imam Abu Hanifa. Then there is al-mujtahid fi al-madhab. Then there are mujtahids, people that are ulama that are doing research, etc., but within the principles of the madhab, like Imam Abu Yusuf, Imam Muhammad. Then there are ulama al-mujtahid fil masail. Those ulama that are doing research based on certain ahkam, certain rulings, etc. This is like, has been mentioned, Imam al-Tahawi. Imam al-Tahawi, rahimahullah. Then there is Ashab al-Tarjih, like Sahib al-Hidayah. Or some have said Imam Quduri, but some have also put Imam Quduri in the position of where Imam Tahawi is, and this is a difference of opinion. Now today what is happening? Today, what are Hanafi scholars today? It is very uncommon, it is not the norm to find ijtihad in the ulama of the Hanafi. They are not doing ijtihad. When a Hanafi scholar is giving you a ruling, he is giving you a ruling of the Imams before. He is doing naql. He is transferring to you the position of the madhab. We learn from Sahib al-Hidayah, who are the ulama of tarjih, Imam Quduri, Imam Tahawi, who came in the later part and consolidated the madhab into specific opinions that will be acted upon. Now you will find majority of the masail, these are what the ulama present to you. This is what Imam Tahawi says, we act upon. With this being said, yes, there are muftis, there are ulama that exist today that give rulings that are new rulings based on the old principles. Because there are new masail that exist. They're called nawazil or mustadaddat. New occurrences, new issues, etc. But this is, in a nutshell, how the madhab is being preserved. Okay? The madhab also, you will find in the Hanafi scholars, the Hanafi madhab, there is some restraint and strictness in terms of ijtihad, especially today. The Hanafi scholars believe that ijtihad al-itlaq is not possible. Ijtihad al-itlaq means to start again like Abu Hanifa. We do accept that there can be ijtihad fi tatbiq al-masail, fi tatbiq al-qawaid, fi tatbiq al-ahkam, fi tatbiq al-usul. In application of the rules of Sharia, there can be ijtihad here. But in ijtihad generally, and starting rulings as you choose, what you see is right, the Hanafi ulama generally do not permit, nor do they see in this any benefit. Now, Imam Abu Hanifa is an imam, honestly, is an imam that has been disputed by people today, not by people of the past. Imam Abu Hanifa is disputed by people today. So it is important for us, as studying the life of Imam Abu Hanifa, to understand what type of respect the Imam had. When we are able to understand the respect the Imam had, then we will be able to identify how special he is. In the hadith that has been narrated by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, taken by Abu Nu'aym in Hilyatul Awliya, Abu Nu'aym al-Asfahani, rahimahullah, very famous book. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لو كان العلم بالثريا, if the knowledge was, Thuraya is literally like a star, it's a star. But the Prophet ﷺ saying that if knowledge was at the star, meaning so distant from you, not capable of acquiring, لَتَنَاوَلَهُ رِجَالٌ مِّنْ أَبْنَاءِ فَارِسِ, there are people from Faris, this area, they will grab that knowledge. Imam Suyuti says, this is Imam Abu Hanifa. Look at the maqam. Imam Suyuti, who was not a Hanafi scholar, he is not a Hanafi scholar. He has said that Imam Abu Hanifa has gathered and grabbed the knowledge which the people cannot grab on their own. So this is a very, very powerful statement by the great Imam Suyuti, rahimahullah. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, لو كان العلم معلقا بالثريا, different wording, لتناوله قوم من أبناء فارس. Imam Suyuti again says here in this riwayat is a similar meaning also. It is Imam Abu Hanifa. That opinion of the Imam Suyuti shows the depth of knowledge that Imam Abu Hanifa is known for. Okay? Then we'll talk about what the ulama have said. Imam Shafi'i, his ustad, Waqi' ibn Jarrah, the teacher of Imam Shafi'i, he says, كان أبو حنيفة عظيم الأمانة وكان يؤثر رضا الله تعالى على كل شيء ولو أخذته السيوف في الله تعالى لاحتملها. Imam Waqi' says that Imam Abu Hanifa was a man of complete trustworthiness. And he always used to prefer the pleasure of Allah over everything. If he had to face swords and death for the sake of the pleasure of Allah, he would do it. Imam Shafi'i says Imam Malik was asked, Imam Malik, who we are talking about next, هل رأيت أبا حنيفة ونظرته يا مالك يا إمام, have you met Imam Abu Hanifa and have you debated him? He says, نعم, yes. رأيت رجلا, I saw such a man, meaning Abu Hanifa, لو نظر إلى هذه السارية, if he were to look at this pillar in the Masjid, Sariyah, the pillar of the Masjid Nabawi. He said, if he were to look at this, وَهِيَ مِنْ حِجَارَةٍ, and it is made from stone, rocks. فَقَالَ إِنَّهَا مِنْ ذَهَبٍ, and he told you that no, it's made from gold. He would prove to you that it was made from gold. Imam Shafi'i says, مَنْ أَرَادَ الْحَدِيثَ الصَّحِيحَ فَعَلَيْهِ بِمَالِكٍ, whoever wants to learn authentic hadith, he should go to Imam Malik. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْجَدَلَ فَعَلَيْهِ بِأَبِي حَنِيفَةٍ, whoever wants to learn how to debate, go to Imam Abu Hanifa. And he has also said, مَنْ أَرَادَ أَن يَتَبَحَّرَ فِي الْفِقْهِ فَهُوَ عِيَالٌ عَلَى أَبِي حَنِيفَةٍ, whoever wants to dive into the ocean of fiqh, whoever wants to become a master of fiqh, he must be a part of the family and study the books of Imam Abu Hanifa. I'm going to read to you one beautiful poem. Subhanallah, it's beautiful. This is by Abdullah bin Mubarak, rahimahullah. Abdullah bin Mubarak is the great Imam of Hadith. He's also a Hanafi scholar. And amongst the Tabi'een in Hadith, when Abdullah is used, just Abdullah, it always refers to Abdullah bin Mubarak, who is a great Imam who spent the later part of his life learning, but he excelled very quickly. He's رأيت أبا حنيفة كل يوم يزيد نبالة ويزيد خيرا. I used to see Imam Abu Hanifa every day, increasing in his nobility and his good and the khayr that he has. وَيَنْطِقُ بِالصَّوَابِ وَيَسْطَفِيهِ, he would speak with the truth and he would select it. Meaning he was a man that selected and knew where the truth was. إِذَا مَا قَالَ أَهْلُ الْجَوْرِ جَوْرًا, when people would lie and people of oppression would say something, يُقَائِسُهُ مَنِ, who is he referring to? He's talking about when the people would come and they would say things against Islam. يُقَائِسُهُ مَنْ يُقَاسِيهِ يُقَائِسُهُ بِلُبٍّ, he would debate them with such intelligence. فَمَنْ ذَا تَجْعَلُونَ لَهُ نَظِيرًا, how can you make a comparison, a parallel to the great Imam Abu Hanifa? كَفَانَا فِقْهُ حَمَّادٍ وَكَانَتْ. We learned so much just from the great Hammad. And it is enough for us to say Imam Abu Hanifa learned from Hammad, because that was one of his ustad. كَفَانَا فِقْهُ حَمَّادٍ وَكَانَتْ. Imam Hammad had so much knowledge when he died. وَكَانَتْ مَصِيبَتُنَا بِهِ أَمْرًا كَبِيرًا. When he died, we were affected greatly. فَرَدَّ الشَّمَاتَةَ الْأَعْدَاءِ عَنَّا. Shamata in the Arabic language is used for, rejoice, but bad rejoice. Somebody dies, and a man loses his father, for example. And somebody who hates the man gets happy that this man lost his dad. This is called shamata, to rejoice at somebody's pain. To rejoice at someone's pain. So he says, فَرَدَّ الشَّمَاتَةَ الْأَعْدَاءِ عَنَّا. When Hammad passed away, and the people, the kuffar and the people that were against Islam, they were all happy that now look, Hammad is gone, we can say whatever we want. Imam Abu Hanifa was there. فَرَدَّ شَمَاتَةَ الْأَعْدَاءِ عَنَّا. He stopped the people from rejoicing at our loss because he was there as a replacement for the great Hammad. وَأَبْدَ بَعْدَهُ عِلْمًا كَثِيرًا. And he has left such knowledge. رَأَيْتُ أَبَا حَنِيفَةَ حِينَ يُؤْتَى وَيُطْلَبُ عِلْمُهُ بَحْرًا غَزِيرًا. I saw when Imam Abu Hanifa would come, how much knowledge he had and how much the people wanted that knowledge to gain from. إِذَا مَا الْمُشْكِلَاتُ تَدَافَعَتْنَا رِجَالُ الْعِلْمِ كَانَ بِهَا بَصِيرًا. When we used to face many trivial issues in the ummah, and many different types of issues that are ambiguous to us and confusing, and there was confusion that was stirring in the people, it was people like Imam Abu Hanifa that could see through it all and bring the wisdom to the world. So, and the last poem, very nice. لَقَدْ زَانَ الْبِلَادِ. Well, this is a famous one. You'll hear, if you go on YouTube, you'll hear almost everybody say this poem. Or you watch any Imam talk about Imam Abu Hanifa, everybody says this poem. It's a very beautiful poem though, no doubt. لَقَدْ زَانَ. But I have not seen anybody else pronounce that poem. So I thought that this would be something different. لَقَدْ زَانَ الْبِلَادَ وَمَنْ عَلَيْهَا إِمَامُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ أَبُو حَنِيفَةَ. Imam Abu Hanifa, who is the Imam of the Muslims, has beautified everybody in the world. فَمَا بِالْمَشْرِقِينِ لَهُ نَظِيرٌ. On both sides of the world there is nobody like him. وَلَا بِالْمَغْرِبَيْنِ وَلَا بِكُوفَةٍ. Not in Kufa, not in the west, not in the east, nowhere in the world will you find anybody like Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah. وَيَأْتِيكُمْ بِإِسْنَادٍ صَحِيحٍ. And he comes to you with true understanding, authentic understanding of Islam. كَآيَاتِ الزَّبُورِ فِي الصَّحِيفَةِ. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put the messages in His books. Meaning He is coming to you so clearly, with such clear information and such a clear understanding of Islam. So, whoever does not know about Imam Abu Hanifa should know today. And whoever hears things being said about any of these Imams, these four Imams that are going to be spoken of, and people who want to remove from the value of these Imams and say that we can't rely on them, or we cannot do this or do that, it is ignorance, because you will find here that the students who were greater than all the Imams today relied on them. Put everything aside. There is no Imam on the face of world today that can say he is like Abu Yusuf. Imam Abu Yusuf relied on Abu Hanifa. So who says that you cannot rely on a man like Abu Hanifa? Imam Abu Yusuf, who is Qadi al-Qudah, who runs the Muslim judging courts, he relies on the fiqh of his ustad for the Muslim world. And this man has more knowledge than every Imam. This man himself, put Abu Hanifa aside, himself has more knowledge than everybody on this world. every Imam that exists today. For him to rely on such an Imam and feel that it is sufficient and that we can learn and it can suffice for the Muslim world, for people to tell you today that that is not possible are inviting towards ignorance. They're inviting towards leaving the way of the ulama and starting something new, which, remember, the only way as time passes to rectify the times we are in is to go back to the times where the people were rectified themselves. This is why Imam Malik rahimahullah says, the only thing that will rectify the people of the end of time is the way the people were at the beginning of time. So follow that lineage of ulama, whether you are Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, because in this there is the preservance of the true knowledge of Islam and the inheritance of the Anbiya alayhimu salatu wassalam. And in this there is wisdom that will make Islam prevail over the world. The lack of wisdom is what makes Islam hated today. I don't want to get into little nitty-gritty things. But if you are ever to study in different universities, Islamic studies, you will find that there are books written by professors on the fact that the lack or those people who have deviated from following the madhahib or the original essence of Islam that was found in the last 1,000 years, that because of them a great downfall of Islam has occurred on the hands of these people. And I am not saying this myself. If you go and read books of such professors, they're everywhere in the world. They're everywhere in the world. There are Arab ones, non-Arab ones, talking about the danger of saying to the people that we can restart Islamic studies. If you want to understand Islam, you must understand Islam through the people who understood Islam. And those were our Salaf. And amongst our Salaf were these four great Imams. And the first of the four, Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all true understanding and hidayah. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.